All right, good evening, everybody out there in District 66. And hello and welcome to the Reliable Representation Talk Show. We've been away for a while, but we have been really busy out here trying to get a few things done. But I do have joining me the one and only, the who we have joining us this evening.
Great evening, everyone. I wish I feel like singing. I hope that you all are having a terrific, thankful Thursday.
All right, you might sing for us a little bit later, right, Brittany?
Did y'all hear me?
Yeah, we heard you. I said you're gonna
I ain't
sing
got
for
my
us.
voice ready yet.
Okay, go on back there
I ain't got my voice ready yet.
go on
Just
back there in the choir room and get tuned up real quick. Yeah, go on back with the minister music, get you together.
okay.
All right, so y'all, it is Thursday. First, before we really get into things, we just want to ask that you keep the people down in South Mississippi in your prayers. That you know there was a really bad tornado that went through and tore up a lot of homes down in South Mississippi. I know Lincoln, down the Lincoln County area, the few counties are right around Lincoln. I'm not sure of all the counties, so I don't want to leave anybody out. I know Boca Chica, that area was hit pretty bad. So I want to ask that you really keep everybody in your prayers down there as they go through storm recovery and the efforts of that sort. Last I heard, there were no fatalities, but there were quite a few people that were injured. And that's one thing about Mississippi, y'all. We have storms that come through here like none other. So we got to always be prepared and we got to always be ready for, whatever. Like they said, when the Lord gets ready to do his work, we just got to be ready for it. So, Ms. Bowman, tell us, I hear you in the car. Where are you just leaving from? You know, me getting your business.
Yeah, he's so nosy. So I am, as always, doing the work of the community. I just left cops meeting for precinct 1. So I am out working in my area of town, South Jackson.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit give us a recap from the cops meeting today? Those are always
Oh,
really.
really? Oh, he wants a recap. So honestly, Captain Thompson just made everyone informed of the crime that's being committed, the difference between misdemeanors, felonies. He also gave some helpful tips about we're approaching school getting out for our youth. So make sure that you're being vigilant. Make certain that you're reporting any loitering or any unsuspicious or unusual activity that you see. He also shared that he highly recommend that you all next week, or everyone, including myself, we thank a police officer. Next week is Police Appreciation Week. And so definitely patronize our men and women who wear the black and blue or whatever colors they wear, because even though we feel they don't do everything we need, they do a job. And so their job is to be commended in whatever way. And something that really did stick out to me that he shared was there was a young man, I'm sorry, that was victimized on Key Street just last week. He was delivering pizza. Some random ignorant person, young child, shot into this man's vehicle going and coming, and this man was out. This was a working man that was delivering pizza, and he really asked for us to pray for this young man. This young man is having a hard time because, again, he was on his job, just going to deliver pizza, and all of a sudden this car comes past him, follow him down Key Street, and breaks out shooting. And so, like I said, he asked us to pray for those families. Of course, he did say that in Precinct 1, which covers a large sum of South Jackson, we are up about 4.3% in our crime rate, of course. But he did give us some highlights of arrests that are being made and progress that they are trying to make on certain crimes that are being committed. And so you all, he said, not if you see something, say something. If you see something, do something. And the do something is get all the details on the subject, report it to police so that they can get out and come out and do the work. And so I think that's to be commended, because we do know that a lot of the crimes that are being committed by our young youth juveniles because they don't have anything to do, and that goes directly back to our school system. So we have to make sure, again, this was Teacher Appreciation Week, make sure that you're showing patronage to these teachers as well, because they have a hard job keeping Lil Ray Ray and Pookie and Marquita and all of them sitting down in their seats and paying attention and not disrupting the classrooms. But that's my song for tonight.
And back to Teacher Appreciation Week. So I was actually at Gary Rowe Elementary. I fed the teachers over there today, lunch for Teacher
Okay.
Appreciation Day. And I'm going to tell you, I said, they were so grateful. Thank you, thank you. I said, no. I said, I'm grateful for y'all because I saw those kids, and they just elementary kids. They weren't being bad, but they were so active, running through running through the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. They weren't doing anything bad, but I'm just saying the patience that you have to be a teacher
Yes.
and
It's
deal.
a lot.
It's a whole lot, and we don't give our teachers credit.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, as parents, we gotta realize: stop sending your kids to school for the school to raise your kids.
Ooh, come on in the room.
So that starts at home, and then go up into the school, want to jump on the teacher because they've corrected your child, or you picking on my child, or you don't like my child. I'm sure those teachers got much more on their plate than to sit up here and not like your child or one out of all of the other kids in the class. So we
Mm-hmm.
got to give our teachers grace, and let me be just honest. Sometimes there are issues with teachers. We do have a few bad apples out there, so I don't want to excuse everybody, but for the most part, these
Mm-hmm.
teachers love these kids and they care about these kids. And look, we want to send a huge shout out to Miss
Correct.
Pamela Henry Shields. Thank you, Miss Pam, for tuning in. And for everybody, if this is your first time on the show, we just want to tell
Hey.
you, if you don't want to hear the truth, you're in the wrong place because we're going to give you the cold, hard truth. We're not down. We're not going to do like some people water it down and tell you everything just all flowers and butter and peaches and cream. But it's not. We're going to tell you the truth about the facts that are going on around us. And I appreciate you for sharing an update about Precinct 1 and what did you say, a 4% increase in crime in our area. I think that's important
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge. Oh, Brittany, Miss Pam
Correct.
said, "Hey." Miss Pam said, "Hey, Britt," but
Hey,
it's important.
hey.
It's important to acknowledge it because when we don't acknowledge it, how do we combat it? And I'm a data-driven
Correct.
person. I like to see the numbers. Like, okay, we have crime that's up 4%. Prime example. I found out that there was a homicide in District 66 today, so I've been trying to get some details to figure out why are we having homicides. So we have to.
Right. I was going to ask about that one tonight, but I said, you know what? I'm going to wait. This is still fresh. Let them do some investigation.
Oh, I've been on the phone all evening trying to figure out, but young man was shot in his backyard, and so we're trying to figure out exactly what happened with that. And it's just all about being vigilant. You can't just say, "Oh, it's just one homicide." No, one homicide is too many. One
And
person
that's what
who's
he said tonight.
if one person whose car get vandalized or broken into, that's one too many. So we gotta
Correct.
stop sweeping things on the rug and saying, "Well, we'll find out later." No, I want to know what happened. Was he into it with somebody? Did we catch this person he was into it with? Like I found out about another one of my constituents. She was an 80-plus-year-old lady, and she was at the McDonald's on Highway 80 over in another district, of course. And three juveniles, three young men. I'm not gonna say all juveniles, some were adults, but three men robbed her. They kidnapped her at gunpoint.
Jesus. Jesus.
It was one day this week, and they kidnapped her on gunpoint and took her somewhere.
Mm.
Luckily, by the grace of God, she was able to get away. She's fine, still a little shook up. But I'm looking at it because I want to know what happened, even though that wasn't here in my district, it was still one of my constituents. And I want to know what can we do in these other districts. I mean, how did it? She was just at McDonald's, so I want to know what went wrong. But we got to start. That's the only way that we're going to fix things is by us getting actively involved in the process and start asking the questions. And so, definitely want to commend Captain Thompson for putting that out there because you'll see a lot of people say, "Oh, we don't have a crime problem, ain't nothing going on, and crime is not up."
No, he definitely didn't do that. He shared that we do. We have some issues over here, and we
And
need help.
for some people that say, "Oh, it was just one little isolated incident," and or we only up by 4%, but any crime is too much, especially with what we're
Correct.
dealing with and what we're living in right now. So
Correct.
sound like a very, very productive meeting that you went to.
Mm-hmm.
So this day I've been on the go today. We had started this morning off over at Hillcrest Christian School over here in District 66. They had their
Woohoo!
senior day. So they had 9 graduates that graduated. They're going to be graduating tomorrow. But went over, I had certificates for them, gave them a little Amazon gift card so they can start getting stuff for their dorm rooms and all of that. But it's just good to be involved with with kids in our community. Yesterday I went over to a charter school. I was at Revive Collegiate over. They were inviting me over for a tour. Some people say, "Well, why are you going to private schools? Why are you going to charter schools?" And my answer to that is because they're educating our children. It's not about the school that they're going to, but it's the fact that they're educating our children, and we need to know what's going on over there in all of these schools. And I spent equal amount of time at public schools. Like I told you, I was just at GRE today for teacher appreciation. So we gotta have an open mind and realize that at the end of the day, all these schools are educating our most valuable assets, which are our children. And so I've had a fun week out here at schools this week. Seeing our kids and seeing what they're doing and seeing how happy these teachers are that guess what, school is coming to an end for the
Hallelujah.
coming to an end. We got Alderwoman Gibson just called me. I'll call her back when we get off of here. All right, so what else do you have going on over there before we really get it? And by the way, y'all, we have a very special guest that's going to be coming on. Brittany, you don't even know who the special guest is, but she's going to put some insight on the next topics that we're going to be talking about.
I need to know who it is. Nobody comes to my home without me knowing who it is. So if I have not vetted this person, there's going to be a lot of trouble. I'm just kidding, y'all, because I forgot I cannot say certain things. People have been getting on me about my mouth. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please forgive.
Look, keep being you. If people can't accept, then go on, get on out the way. But that's just how how we have to be and how we have to roll. All right. So, anything else you want to unpack before we bring our special guest on?
No, we do want to tell everyone Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, how did I forget about that? Yeah, to all of our mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day to you. All of our mother figures, because we do have some. We have a lot of mother figures that are out there as well. So happy Mother's Day to y'all. This is y'all's day coming up. So y'all kick back, enjoy, and relax. But one thing I don't want y'all to forget, we're going to have Father's Day coming up very soon. So I'm going to tell you, we're going to need the same energy, mothers, when Father's Day get here. I saw in the Jackson Advocate today, they have an article with mothers and had a lot of mothers in there. So I called, I said, look now, when Father's Day come, I want to see my picture up here with all the fathers. So we want the same energy when Father's Day get here. So I'm just letting y'all know, Miss Tisdale, I want my picture advocate when it comes time for Father's Day. But do you have any Mother's Day plans right now?
I do. I'm gonna spend it with my mother and my grandmother and my siblings and a few friends on Saturday. We're gonna celebrate Mother's Day together, but Sunday definitely is gonna be dedicated to my mom and my grandma.
I'm gonna tell you, it is nothing like a mother. Fathers, we can't do it all. We would not be anything without mothers. Just that nurturing spirit that mothers have is you cannot replace it. Fathers, we ain't got it, y'all. I just got to admit our and we don't have it. We try. We try to imitate it, because we surely can't duplicate it. And y'all, I'm trying to kill time before our guest get here. I just texted, told her to come on over here, so she's gonna be coming up, y'all, in just a minute. I don't want to get too much into the topics because she's going to kind of help me with the two topics we're going to be talking about. One of the topics is of course, going to be Jackson Water. And the second topic is going to be the Supreme Court redistricting that we're going back into special session for on May 20th, the week after next, ain't it? Yeah, the week after next, a Thursday.
I think I know who the special guest going to be, though.
You already know. You already know. So yeah, I am just trying to kill some time. I don't really want to go too deep into that, but I just might have to go on and get started on it and kind of let her, when she gets here, pick up on it. Yes, sir. Is something in there?
Get my phone. Yeah, hold on. I'm having technical difficulties over here.
With some water in it, some lukewarm water. All right, y'all. I'm back. So look. While we're waiting on her, we will, I guess, kind of dig into these topics. So, Ms. Bubba, which one do you want to start with, redistricting or Jackson Water?
Let's talk about redistricting, because the Voting Act, that has been, I don't understand it. That's not my terminology. I don't speak that language, so I want to know more about it.
All right, so where do we start? So what we have going on right now, and I know y'all probably been seeing on the news over in Tennessee today, they redrew congressional maps in Tennessee. Over in Alabama, they're working on redrawing congressional maps in Alabama. And a lot of people are like wondering, like, how did we get to this? Why is this happening? Well, what happened is in Louisiana, there was a congressional district that the maps were drawn for. And so we had people that it was It was an African American, and I hate to say, I don't want to label congressional districts as an African American district. So when I say that, I'm just saying that it has a majority of African Americans within this district, because no district is black or white, but it had a large number of African Americans in this district. So this was challenged in a Supreme Court lawsuit down in Louisiana, Callis versus State of Louisiana. And so the people that challenged it, they were saying that this was discrimination. It was discriminatory because this district was drawn for, just so Black people could have representation. So it went to the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court. And what happened is back in the 1960s, we had the Voting Rights Act was passed. Martin Luther King worked on it under the John F. Kennedy administration. Unfortunately, John F. Kennedy died. And when John F. Kennedy died, hold on one second. I got you here 2 times, Brittany. You good?
Yeah, I had technical difficulties. One of them you can just exit out of.
There we go.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, so Dr. Martin Luther King was working on getting the Voting Rights Act passed through John F. Kennedy, and he was assassinated.
I can't hear him now.
And he was assassinated before. What about now, Brittany? Can you hear me now, Brittany? We can hear you. All right, y'all. Brittany will be back with us in a moment. And so what happened is, so after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, Lyndon B. Johnson, which was his successor, signed the Voting Rights Act, which put in protections to make sure that whenever districts were drawn. All right, y'all, we got your back, Brittany.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you at first. Okay, I'm back. Come on.
All right, perfect. So with the Voting Rights Act, there was Article 2 including the Voting Rights Act. And what that did is, that says that anytime we have maps that are drawn, and I wish my map is over there, but what happens is, so anytime we have maps that are drawn for any type of district, so when we have Supreme Court districts, Senate districts, congressional districts, House of Representative districts, it says that these lines have to adequately reflect the demographic of people that are in this certain district, i.e. African Americans, because, African American, Caucasian were the 2 largest populations. So what happened is, when they challenged this, they challenged Article 2 of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sided, saying that Article 2, basically, they stripped that protection away. So after this protection was stripped, that means that when we do redistricting now, we do not have to take demographics, i.e. race, into account when we're drawing lines. This goes for Supreme Court lines, congressional lines, House district lines, even when we draw lines for mayor, alderman. Anytime we draw district lines, race is not even a factor anymore.
Okay, put a pin there. Who came up with this that we don't have to put demographics in? Because my question is, why? Now that goes back to a conversation we had with a group of people earlier this week. How does a Caucasian come into a predominantly African American community and understand the needs of that community? Because in all transparency and honesty, if you've never been poor, you don't know what it feels like if you've always been given everything.
Absolutely, and that's a two-way street. How do we have an African American come in a predominantly Caucasian community and not really understand the needs of that community? So that goes both ways. So what happens is, Article 2 was not put there to encourage discrimination. It was put there to make sure that there was equitable representation all across the board. But what happened down in Louisiana with this Callis versus Louisiana, where a group of people, of course, they were not African Americans, they said, we don't want this a Black congressional district. These lines are drawn incorrectly. And the Supreme Court sided with them in a 6-3 ruling. So six justices decided, saying, no, it's unconstitutional. So what that did is it invalidated Article 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And in invalidating that means anytime district lines are drawn, guess what? No account to what the demographic is. As long as you have, like in Mississippi, so for congressional districts, each congressional district has each congressional district has about 780,000 people. So according to this, Mississippi, we have a population of about 2.8 million, roughly 2.6, 2.8 million. So what this says is, as long as you give us 780,000 people in all 4 of your congressional districts, it don't matter how the lines are drawn.
Mm.
So what happened in Tennessee today is Memphis, which is a predominantly African American city. They took Memphis and divided it into 3 congressional. I want to say they split it 3 ways into 3 congressional districts to make sure that they're able to get rid of. I'm not even say African American. I'm going to say Democratic representation. So this is all about decreasing Democratic seats to get so Republicans can have a majority in these congressional seats. Now, I'm going to tell you what we're doing in Mississippi. As it stands in Mississippi, we're only going to do Supreme Court redistricting when we return on the 20th per the governor's proclamation. So as of right now, it's not included in the proclamation that we're going to be taking up congressional redistricting. But guess what? With the strike of a pen, the governor can say, I want to add congressional redistricting to the special session. With the strike of a pen,
really?
Yeah, with the strike of a pen, he can go in the proclamation, say, I want to add state legislative districts to the special session. I want to add Senate seats to the special
What is
session.
my phone doing?
So as of right now, as it stands, we're going to
I'm sick of these. Whatever my phone doing, y'all.
and so as it stands, and y'all, our special guest is here. I'm gonna get her on the screen in just a minute. She ready, y'all, too. I can see it in her eyes. And so I'm gonna wrap my point up and I'm gonna bring her on. And so as it stands, we're only dealing with Supreme Court districts on paper. However, that can change when we get there at the stroke of a pen. So that's why we're seeing all of these legislatures going back into special sessions to redraw lines. And Ms. Pamela Shields, y'all, this is why I love having informed and educated constituents. Ms. Pamela Hayes Shields just said, wasn't the line drawn by the Republican Party from the beginning? Ms. Pam, you are absolutely right. These lines were not drawn by Congressman Thompson when they were drawn. These lines, and what has happened when we look at the 2nd Congressional District, that's the largest district in the country. It's the 2nd largest district land mass wise within the country right now, right behind Montana.
Are you serious?
Yes. When you look at his congressional district,
I need to do my homework.
Every time congressional redistricting comes up, what they do is they add more counties to his district to dilute the vote to try to see if they can, and they have not been successful. And so the only way that people are saying, like Clyburn over in Carolina, they're talking about if they can redistrict to get him out of office. So what you're looking at is you see people saying, if we can't beat you at the ballot, we're going to just redistrict you and redraw those lines. But my message to everybody that wants to get involved in the scheme, scam, whatever it is you want to call it, I want you to know people are waking up, and that's going to backfire on you because people are going to go to the polls and they're going to vote. Because when we look at Mississippi with a 38% African-American population, the largest African-American population per capita in the country, however you try to divide it up in the jigsaw puzzle, it's going to be enough of us in these districts to flip these districts when we get our people awake and wake them up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our special guest on because, y'all, she is ready, y'all. I can tell she's ready. So here we go, y'all, presenting. I'm going to let her introduce herself to y'all. Here is our special guest. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I said that's who it was.
We can hear you. You can't hear me? Y'all, she having technical difficulties. How in the world? She got technical difficulties. All right, hey, we got our listener, Mr. Timothy Brown. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Happy Thursday to you. Tim has a birthday coming up next Saturday, May 16th. Happy be early birthday to you, Timothy. Y'all make sure y'all stick around because y'all have to hear from Miss Danielle Holmes because this lady is just a wealth of knowledge, and she is going to really let us know exactly what's going on because she's been in this fight much longer than me. I'm still learning, but she's been in this fight. All right, Miss Holmes, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
I'm just tapping in to play with you tonight. I'm not playing with nobody back in Mississippi. But no, good evening. How are you? I'm walking in the streets of DC
I
with my
can't
colleague
hear.
Clinton. You can't hear me?
We can hear you, Brittany. Try to go out and come back in. We can hear. I can hear fine.
Okay, let me go out and come back in.
Yeah. You say you walk in the streets of DC.
Yeah, I'm in DC
Oh,
working.
y'all. She in DC. Oh my goodness.
I had to go to the J. Edgar Hoover Federal Building.
Okay. I'm scared. I ain't gonna ask anymore. I don't want to know nothing else next. At the J. Edgar
What's
Hoover,
been going on? What
I
are
don't
you
want to.
discussing tonight, Representative?
So we're talking about. We were just getting on. We were talking about redistricting, and I was just telling people what was happening up in Louisiana, and not Louisiana, up in Tennessee today. How they redrew the congressional. They redrew the congressional lines. Didn't they do Memphis? Didn't they put Memphis into 3 congressional districts? Didn't they divide up? They split up where it's in its home.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be still.
Okay. Uh-oh. Y'all, I lost Danielle. She got to come back again. Can you hear us okay, Brittany?
Yeah, I can hear. I could hear y'all that time.
Oh, look. Hello to you, Miss Janitra Robinson. Salutations and greetings. It's always good to have you tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all stick around because she got some stuff to say. All right, Miss Holmes, you back.
All right, I'm gonna be still. But what were you saying, Representative?
How many congressional districts? I heard they divided Memphis up. How many congressional districts did they divide it up into?
I don't know. I have not caught up on today's news with Memphis. So,
We're gonna
do you
get
know how many districts they divided? I don't. Don't have me lying.
look, we're gonna get back to y'all on that, but people got to realize this stuff is coming at us so fast. It's hard to really keep the track of it.
And the reality is that it's beyond just black and brown communities. This is going to
I can't
affect
hear
working class.
Danielle.
You can't hear me?
Okay, go out and come back in. Uh-oh. Keep on going,
Can
then.
you
Yes.
hear me? Yeah, so this is going to impact black, brown, but mainly black and brown, who they're trying to draw out of Congressman Thompson's district. And I'm sure a lot of people have had their differences, their issues with Congressman Thompson, but now is not the time to have those differences. This is the time that we all need to really unite on one accord. They ain't just coming; they are attacking everything that is black. And that is the reality. You see them attacking Jackson, and I must say Jackson um, clapped for their own demise. They they wanted that, right? What they have right now in the city of Jackson and what is to come to them, though, that's what they wanted. And so they got a root of awakening. And I know I'm jumping, but this water issue is very near and dear to my heart. And we've been on the front lines with this water crisis from day one, when it reached its peak in the city. And so we knew the back ends, the pros and the cons of what was happening, right? And we even, when it came to Mr. Ted Hennepin, and individuals said that we didn't want to work with them, or the prior administration didn't want to work with them. No, we were the ones to embrace Mr. Hennepin, right? Mr. Hennepin came in with many promises of making sure that residents he was going to keep them supplied with clean and safe drinking water. He commended the work of the Mississippi Rapid Response Coalition, wanted a commitment to work with us throughout his duration here. And lo and behold, somebody got a hold of him, and he flipped the script on us. And so it has been, and I'm going to say it boldly, Mr. Hennepin has been very much engaged in legislative talks around this HB 1677 water board authority bill, Metro Water Authority bill. And for you all that don't know, that bill does nothing to save our infrastructure or fix it. What it does is forces the city of Jackson into bankruptcy. And that's where we are, right? They want our black ASSs up out of Jackson by any means necessary. And so we can't afford to continue to sit on racist blogs laughing at foolishness about black people when they're actually talking about you as well, right? And y'all know who I'm talking about. It's sad that the Black community has embraced this individual. It's sickening to see, right? And then it's even sickening to see individuals who try to mimic, talk shows after this foolishness that we see every day. Um, Very disappointed in some of our Black business owners and leaders who have gotten behind this foolishness. So, we got to do something. But this playing games, fighting against each other, amongst each other, we can't afford to play with the enemy. We have to be on one accord in this fight. We got to get our cousins, our little babies, our nieces, our nephews, our uncles, our great grandmamas. We got to push folks out in wheelchairs. This is a serious matter. And I don't know how to tell anybody how serious it can get, especially with even our governor calling a special session, right, to redraw redraw districts, these racist maps. And my understanding is that they want to go back to the 2020 maps. And so, Representative, we're counting on you all to go in there and fight like hell for us, right? We know you all don't have the supermajority, and you may not even have a third of the majority on your side. But for those that look like us, who align with our principles, we are really counting on you all to go in there and really fight and stand up for us. On all ends, not just with redistricting, but with this water, we're expecting our legislators, especially Hinds County delegation, they've been very quiet around this water crisis and this fight. And the reality is, after that bill has been dissected, that bill is so bad on its face that those legislators who literally sat quiet or did not fight for their constituents, they ought to be voted out.
I agree.
You're talking about residents' livelihood. This ain't no game.
Well,
And
Danielle,
many
I
of them told
appreciate
you to stand down.
your
This bill
education.
does not address billing issues. The bill is so bad that the city of Jackson at first was telling residents and told city council, they told them, they said that the bill was good. It was a good bill, right? They were, all, except for maybe two, Councilman Stokes and Councilman Clay were against the bill on its face. You have the other 5 Hartley was against it, so the other 4 council persons that were in support of this bill. They literally went behind closed doors and voted to support this bill without doing their homework. So imagine if you had not had community organizations standing up and fighting back against the city of Jackson, and we just sat quiet and allowed everything to take place, we will be in a real bad, messed up situation, Representative, and you know it.
Absolutely. This is an
Is
awful
it the
bill.
education piece that's missing?
Danielle. Oh, can you hear me, Danielle? I don't think Danielle can hear me. Danielle can't hear us, Brittany.
Oh, okay. Because I was asked my question.
Go back at her.
She gonna go out and back in. That's why she kept talking. She gonna come back go out and come back in. But you say is it an education?
Now I can't hear you.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. All right. So Brittany, you go back out and come back in too. All right, y'all. I'm so sorry we're having technical difficulties. They're going to be coming back in, but y'all please stand by. This is a very, very important conversation that we're having, and they're bringing up some very, very good points. I think. Here we go. I got Brittany back. All right, Ms. Bowman. All right, Ms. Bowman.
I'm back. So my question is.
All right, hold on a second. Danielle, are you there?
Yes.
All right, Brittany, there you go. She can hear you.
Danielle, my question is, first I want to say good evening and thank you for coming on, educating
Good
us.
evening.
But I want to say this. I think for me, and again, I'm just speaking for me, I think it's the education piece. We don't know because we've been bamboozled for the lack of ignorance and laziness for not wanting to research or read. So for my area, I will welcome you to come to our next neighborhood meeting to share this information because a lot of us just don't know. And I know from my neighborhood, most of our residents, they just don't know. And so they're going on whatever sounds popular or whatever our elected officials are coming out telling us or whatever that looks like. A lot of them are not fact checked. And so they're just going, oh, okay, well, that sounds right. So I'm going to side with it because they don't have anything black and white. And again, like I said for myself, the lack of lazy, well, not the lack of, just pure laziness, the lack of wanting to research to find out what's all included in this. Because had it not been for Fabian, I wouldn't have known about it, honestly.
Yeah, and thanks to Representative Nelson for really standing up and standing in the gap for the residents. I will say this, we shouldn't have even gotten this far with this discussion with the city going along with this bill. This has never been a good thing for the city of Jackson. And I can say that I'm not an elected official, right? I'm speaking as a resident of Jackson. I live there first. If I have to go work at Piccadilly somewhere, I'm still a resident of Jackson. And so I have to fight for my best interest. And that bill does not serve my best interest nor the residents of Jackson. What it does is push folks like us out of that city. I already had a friend girl who said that she had to leave Hines County because she could no longer afford to stay there.
And I've
And
had
water bills was a factor.
I've
She
had a
is
few
just one of
constituents.
many to come.
I've had a few constituents. They've said the same thing. I can't afford to stay here. This water bill, I'm tired of dealing with water issues. I'm tired of my water being, cut off. I'm tired of brown water when I can go to another county and the taxes are cheaper. Water is clean. Streets are good. The crime is not where it needs to be. So we got to start protecting our community and the basic needs. And like I told them from the door, I'm not going to accept any mediocre plan for Jackson Water. I'm not going to take something that's going to just help us get by and kick the can down the road. This has to be done right. And just so I can't put it on the record, when people start talking about what has happened, well, it was a previous administration, the Lumumba administration, that went and got the $600 million in federal funds and secured that money to come in only for Jackson Water System to have a federal takeover. And guess what? We don't know where the $600 million is because Jackson Water is not even subjected to open records requests to report where the money has gone.
Yeah, there's a lot. One thing that Mr. Hennepin said when he first came there, he said that he was given more power than he would have given himself, right? He even has immunity. And so whatever happens with the resources, and I'm not saying that he has alleging that he has stolen resources. I want to be clear on that. But what I will say is that anything can happen. He will not be prosecuted, right? He has immunity from prosecution in this interim stipulated order. And so we're in for a wild ride here. The saving grace, the saving day is, I would say that, Judge Wingate has to oversee Ted Hennepin. And so, so he's not as loose, so he could put a stop to him if and whenever he gets ready, so chooses to, if things get out of hand.
And I do want to say, with Judge Wingate, he has really been the saving grace. He's really stepped up a lot of times to keep things on the up and up and where they need to be. One thing that I do see, I can't really get in his mind, but I feel that he really wants to work with the city of Jackson as far as making sure that there's a good plan, because he could have easily said, well, I'm going to go with this Metro Authority Board. But he said, well, no, I don't want to give the city's control away that easily. So he put a temporary injunction in there. So I think he's willing to work with the city, but I hope the city can come up with a good enough plan that's going to benefit the people that live in there.
Well, the city, so the problem has always been the city never had the resources. And when the city finally got the resources, it was a takeover, and the state, wanted to put their things in place where money had to go through the state and before it went to the city of Jackson. And so had the state invested in Jackson's water infrastructure, right? And one thing people must know when they talk about what the state ain't doing, we are tax-paying citizens, right? We pay state taxes. However, what do you see coming back to the city of Jackson on our tax dollars? Zero. We're getting zero return for our tax dollars. That should not be okay with any resident. I don't care who you don't like.
Because it's not like you say, Danielle. It's not like it's free money. This is money that
No,
we,
these are taxpayers' dollars
yeah,
that we're being pimped out of.
yeah, tax
But
dollars.
we refuse to stand up. We refuse to talk. We want to talk about those who are trying to help rather than talking about those who continue to hurt.
That's
So
absolutely.
we need a root. We're in for a root of awakening right now with these redistricting maps. And it looks like people are still asleep. But we got to do something to shake something because we in trouble.
You know, when you look at the fight that went into getting us to where we are now with the Voting Rights Act, back when Dr. King was marching,
Yeah.
when our
John
ancestors,
Lewis. Yeah. Yes.
when my grandmama and granddaddy told me how they would have to walk 5 to 10 miles to the voting precinct to go and vote, when they had poll tax, when they had to go and tell how many jelly beans was in
Yes.
the jar in order to vote, when they had to pass literacy tests in order to vote, people fought for it and wanted it. Now you have people that are just given the right to vote and they take it for granted because they say, well, nothing is going to change. But sometimes people have to suffer in order to wake up, and I hate that it happens that way. But you know, like you
But
said,
we're willing to change that this election cycle this year. We're going to go into these counties. We're going to have community forums. We're going to do things different. It's just not going to be an ordinary town hall or community meeting, right? We're going to add some spunk to it, but we're going into these communities and we're going to wake people up. One of the problems is that we have not been in these communities talking to people, right? We assume people know, or we want them to know, or we force them to want to go and vote, but they don't even know what they're going to vote for because we're not talking about their issues, right? And that's one of the biggest problems in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is the poorest state in this country. You have 5 of the poorest counties in this country that sit in the state of Mississippi: Holmes County, Claiborne County, Humphreys County, Issaquena County, and Tunica County.
Mm.
And all 5 of those counties are majority Black counties.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you never hear elected officials talking about poverty when they're on their political agenda, around here campaigning, on the campaign trail. Poverty is not a part of their agenda, and that is a problem. But we're going to the communities and we're talking about their issues, right? We're talking about living wage. We're talking about this country. Minimum wage is still $7.25, and how Mississippi has never set a minimum wage. So it defaults automatically to federal minimum wage. However, they constantly continue to give corporations tax incentive, free taxes,
tax abatements,
or free tax incentives to come to this state.
Yep.
Nissan had a 10-year, it was the MOU between Nissan and the state of Mississippi was horrible.
I think didn't the state even pay the light bill for somebody?
They did so much, and Nissan never lived up to their obligation of that MOU. And the state never held them accountable. Neither will they hold any corporation that they're giving these tax incentives to accountable.
And for me personally, now when we talked about Nissan, that was revolutionary. 2003, there was nothing like Nissan in Mississippi. And so when we talk about giving tax abatements to bring industry here, okay, if we bent over backwards until we broke our back bringing Nissan here, that should have stopped with Nissan, because Nissan brought suppliers here. Toyota up in Blue Springs want to come. All these other places come. When you giving tax incentives and tax breaks, you do something to entice industry to come here. But now what are we doing? We're still giving these entitlements to corporations.
But how does it give a good return on the residents?
It does not.
We don't see it, right? It doesn't benefit us. Nissan being in Canton hadn't benefited Canton.
It hasn't.
Look at Canton, Mississippi.
It has not. What you do is you create an environment that makes these people want to come here. And when you talk about coming here, they will come here and and they won't care about incentives because the environment is perfect for them. When you talk about Atlanta, Georgia, and you talk about Memphis, Tennessee, with all these Fortune 500 company headquarters, they're not giving them all these big tax incentives. They want to be there because that's where the movers and shakers are. Now, Miss Pam just made a comment. She says, we must stop sitting at the kitchen table with ideals, concerns, and show your voice or concerns at city council meetings with your government officials. Change only comes when change is being made. And I'm gonna say, Miss Pam, you practice what you preach, because that's where I met Miss Pam at a Board of Aldermen meeting right here in Byram when she was talking about her community. She still goes there. Whenever she has an idea, I call her the Queen of Byram, because Miss Pam comes. Y'all, I'm talking about Miss Pam now. She lives in Byram, but I'm just talking about how she goes to the Board of Aldermen meetings and she voices her concerns. You know, whatever it is on her mind, she's going to tell them, and she's going to hold her elected officials accountable. So when she needs something, when she want to talk to one of her elected officials, they're going to answer her call because they know that she's actively involved and that she's going to hold them accountable. When Miss Pam called me, she's going to get me on the phone and a call back because I know she's civically involved. But people want to get on Facebook and put all this stuff on Facebook and do all this and that. You're not being effective because most elected officials don't even look at Facebook. They don't care about this stuff on there.
No, we have to go to elected officials, and it is not about whether you hurt their feelings. I mean, sometimes they need their feelings hurt. You know, Representative, we could say firsthand, you know, when our first interaction wasn't a good interaction. You know what I'm saying? I think I went in on you. I did everything, but but we came to an understanding, right? Because you didn't carry your feelings, and our arguments were valid. You know, your position is your position, mine is mine, but you understood where I was coming from, right? But I will say many of your colleagues are still in their feelings from last year. So, but they'll get over it because we're gonna call more names.
Yep,
this is our livelihood, and we can't afford to allow any elected official to play with us. Right? We ain't in those kind of times. Find something else safe to do. This ain't it.
That's it. That's what we all have to do. I mean, when we were having our little, not even a disagreement, our conversation, I said, I can't wait till she come to Capitol. I'm going to find her and she come to discuss. I just want to talk to you and get more insight, tell you how I felt about the issue. You tell me how you felt about it. And even though we still don't completely agree on that issue, but what have we done? We found other issues that we can work on together. But that's what politics is all about. The people want to get in their feelings. They want to, because I'm an elected official, you got to agree with everything I say. If you got people that agree with everything you say, then you only fooling yourself. So that's how we have to be. And are you still there, Brittany? I see you. Let's see y'all of Brittany. She was having some technical difficulties. All right, then you back again. Oh, can you hear me?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, though, as elected officials, we have to be open to constructive criticism.
I mean, or don't get in politics, right? Because that comes with politics. And I'm not concerned about what folks doing in their bedrooms, right? I'm concerned about how you voting on that floor.
That's it. Are you showing up for your community?
A lot of folks get caught up into the weeds that ain't got nothing to do with policies that's impacting my life.
That's it. And that is a huge problem. You got to make sure that you stick to what's important. Like you say, what is the issue? Are you showing up for the community? Are you talking about this issue that's going on? Are you available to your constituents? We talk about this water crisis here in Jackson, and it's an insult to me. Anytime I hear legislators want to debate this issue of the water system that never even showed up to help people when they were in need. And so,
but the bill was so bad that Attorney Drew Martin just had to come out and tell Judge Wingate the other day in court that, hey, Judge, this bill is just flat out bad. It's bad on its face, right? That's how bad the bill is. Now, but the sad part is that it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. When you have people out here on the front lines fighting for the best interest of community, how dare you sit up and try to question or attempt to question what they're saying?
When I saw the bill, I said, okay, and I told them I wasn't voting for it. When they asked me, will you vote for it? I said, no, absolutely. And I said, I'm not going to vote for something that, as a member of the Hinds County delegation representing parts of Jackson, I'm not going to vote on anything that I did not have one bit of say so in. You're not going to come and put a piece of legislation in front of me that I was not able to give any insight on or even talk about. And so that's what we got to do as legislators. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to be doing. You back again, Danielle. I was just telling them that I was always a no vote because I didn't have any insight in the formulation and drafting of this bill.
They didn't do their homework on this bill. You know
No.
what? There was no rate study done, no feasibility study, no other alternative study. Like you ain't did nothing, but went
And
along with what one man said, and that was the third party, Ted Hennepin.
yeah, and Danielle, I want to publicly go on the record and thank you for educating me on the issue because when I first started talking about it, I said, Danielle, I don't know anything about water systems. Can you give me insight? And you started telling me how you felt about it, and not only that, you gave me evidence-based stuff,
I
showing
take
me.
you to the facts. I come with receipts. I don't just be talking off the top of my head.
It wasn't you just saying, well, this is bad. You were sending me other where water authorities were implemented, Detroit, all these other areas, and how they failed and why they didn't work and how the citizens got involved in it. And so I appreciate you for that. More legislators have to start doing that because a person can tell you anything. People like used car salesmen, they can tell you that this is the best car ever. But if you don't research it and figure out what's going on, you're going to get bamboozled.
And represent one thing I do want to say, and I'm gonna have to hurry up and get off, but this water infrastructure problem isn't just a Jackson issue. Over 50% of Mississippi's water infrastructure is failing. And these are issues that they don't call special elections for. People are crying high utility bills, right? Energy. All these utility companies are slamming residents with high utility bills on top of these water bills.
You're right about that.
It's not, I mean, Greenville has been receiving water bills that look like Jackson water bills. Right? You got water issues in Shaw, Mississippi, and Sidon, Mississippi. You got
Utica,
water issues all across the state.
Utica, Mississippi, Reedtown has terrible water issues going on down there. Ever since I've been in office, they've been dealing with that.
Right. What? 10 minutes up the road from us.
Yeah, all around us, there are water
All
problems.
around us. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we constantly allow these extremist legislators to bamboozle us. Now, and folks that look like them, they ain't just got to be all elected officials. But we allow people who want to keep us at the bottom, want to keep us with bare minimum.
Uh-oh.
Continue to push their narrative and we go along with it.
All right. Well, Ms. Holmes, we'll let you get on back to the Washington, D.C. Uh-oh. Ms. Holmes got all y'all. She coming back. Brittany, are you still there? I think Brittany been in and out. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We have technical difficulties. It's not on my end. I think they're on their cell phones, so that may be why. But y'all, okay, we got Danielle. Okay, Danielle, we got you back for final thoughts.
Well, I just say, y'all, this redistricting fight is coming up. There's going to be a big event with the Mississippi Value Project. They will be holding a protest, and that's a coalition of organizations that have come together to fight back against these racist redistricting maps. I think the event starts at 12. They will be at the Capitol on High Street and at the old Capitol on South State Street, 100 South State Street. So we're asking people to join the Mississippi Poor People's Campaign. We'll have a press conference at 10 o'clock a.m. On May 20th that morning in front of the old Capitol in partnership with One Voice. We will be hearing from directly impacted individuals, ordinary community members, and how they have been impacted by policies in Mississippi and how these redrawings of these maps will impact them even further. And so we ask you all to really, if there's ever a time that we're pleading and begging with you all to show up for yourselves, for your city, for your state, for your people, for your grandbabies that have to come when you're no longer here. You know, we can no longer think about ourselves. We got to think about those, our children that are coming behind us, who will have to live in this state, in this country. It's messed up, and we have to take a stand now, not tomorrow, but right now. Make that conscious decision to show up on May 20th.
All right, lady. Well,
Good
we
day.
appreciate you. We're gonna have you back again soon. All right, everybody. Brittany, are you there? Can you hear me? Any final thoughts from you? Well, let Brittany come and give some final thoughts before I give mine. And I see she here. I'm trying to let her unmute. Give her a second to unmute. Well, y'all, definitely want to thank Ms. Danielle Holmes for coming in, giving her commentary on a few things that we got going on. As we talked about redistricting as well as the issues that we're experiencing with Jackson Water. But in my closing thoughts, I just want to talk a little bit more about redistricting and my thoughts as to why I feel and how I feel and why I feel the way that I feel. To me, redistricting, this is not just about one person. It's not about one district. We're talking about Supreme Court lines when we go back, which can lead to congressional lines, which can lead to state legislative lines. And so it's not about one person, one seat, one position. This is just about doing the right thing to make sure that all Mississippians truly have a voice that represents them in whatever elected office that person is serving in the capacity of. I've seen a lot of people that have been very vocal about redistricting, saying that, okay, wow, we can get rid of Congressional District number 2, which is Benny Thompson's district. Let's draw him out. Let's draw him out of the district. And everybody that's saying that, I want to say one thing: shame on you. Anytime that you can push rhetoric and say that you want to redraw lines to remove an elected official that people have voted to put in office, shame on you. If you want the seat, it's open. You run for it. You go out there with your blood, sweat, and tears, and you run for the seat, and you secure it yourself. You don't just change the lines just because you don't agree with a person, whether it be politically or for whatever reason. And when we start doing that, redrawing one congressional line because we don't agree with a person there, or one Supreme Court line, what's going to happen when we don't agree with somebody else? Or what's going to happen when you have somebody in office that you like and the power shifts and the control shifts and the other people decide to redraw that line to put your person out of office? That's not the principle that this country was built upon. And we cannot go there. This is a slippery slope. It's a dangerous slope. And it may sound good and may create good sound bites, but this is not the way that we do it. If you want a seat, you run for office. If you want to represent a certain district, move to that district and run for office in that district. Don't go and redraw congressional lines. That's just like you taking a test and you're supposed to take this test and you're supposed to study for this test and take it. And instead of studying for it, you bring all the answers to the test and then you fill the test out and then you go home. And so those are my thoughts on redistricting. Like I said, I'm maybe putting the cart before the cart before the horse in this instance, because right now we're only considering judicial redistricting for our Supreme Court. However, as I said, this will lead to this is opening up Pandora's box. And if we're able to redistrict judicial lines, we can redistrict legislative lines. We can redistrict city council lines, alderman lines.
Hey everyone, can y'all hear me?
Redistrict mayor lines. We can hear you. So when we open up that box of redistricting, that's a box that we have to be careful with when we open it up. And there have been a lot of Republicans that have come forward and said, be careful with this, because districts that are now strong Republican districts can possibly be flipped when we start doing all of this redistricting stuff. Ms. Elizabeth Johnson said, we cannot go backwards. Ms. Johnson, I agree with you. We fought too hard to get to where we are right now. So many people stood in the gap for us to be where we are now, for us to just simply go back. And so it's not any going back right now. And so, Ms. Bowman, I'm gonna let you give your final thoughts or any questions or anything you have before we get out of here.
No, everyone just get educated so you know what's going on. You won't be in the blind like I was. Reading is fundamental, so make sure that you're doing your homework.
Reading is fundamental, and asking questions is fundamental. You know, when you have your elected officials in front of you, ask them the tough questions. You have your elected official coming to you telling you, oh, we're going to open up, we're going to build a new Chick-fil-A. Don't get all excited about that. You need to start asking questions about things going to affect your everyday life. Because what I've been seeing is I've been seeing a lot of smoke screens, and I've been seeing a lot of elected officials talking only about the good things and the positive things that are going on. When we have detrimental things going on in our city, our state, and our country, we got to start asking the tough questions and having the tough conversations. Because when we don't do that, we don't educate people, and we let this stuff get out of the box. It's like a train, a smoking train that's coming down the railroad. We let it get too far, and it gets to a point where it's nothing that we can do to stop it. The conversations that we're having now should have been conversations that we were having years ago, but we got comfortable and complacent years ago because we said, "Oh, that'll never ever happen." Oh, the Supreme Court will never ever uphold is not realizing if you pattern a Supreme Court full of conservative judges, that they're going to work in hand with a conservative president and conservative Congress and conservative Senate to issues pushed that you want to have pushed. And so people, you know, they say that, you know, the judicial branch is nonpartisan. There's nothing in this world that's nonpartisan, no matter how hard you try. Not even AI. You go type something in AI right now and it's going to be partisan. And pay attention to what's not being said. All right, y'all. Well, that's going to be it for me. I'm like Jerry Springer. That was my final thought. Oh, one thing I do want to show y'all in the back here. I normally have a map of my district hanging up, but that is the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus legislators from 2003. So I keep that here at my house because those are the ones that paved the way for us. In 2003, that's when the Black Legislative Caucus really fought very hard and fiercely for the rights of Mississippians. We got to get that fight back, and we got to come together in unity and continue that fight. So I keep that as a reminder behind me. I got to get it framed, but I need to stand and take a picture so that y'all can see it. But those are the ones whose shoulders that we stand on, or the shoulders we're supposed to be standing on, because some of us not standing on them. But those are the shoulders that we're supposed to be standing on and moving this state forward. When we can figure out a way to find unity amongst each other, unity amongst our caucus, we will be able to get some things done. And I'm optimistic about it, that it will happen. All right, Ms. Bowman, you going to take us out in song?
I don't have a song tonight. You all be blessed, okay? Be safe and be blessed. And happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. I'm with the same energy for Father's Day. All right,
y'all. Bye.
Y'all take care of yourself. All right.